All right, brothers and sisters of the Vril Mama, we are back with Sister Mindy.
Hello,
We have to get
everyone.
very close, like two cats.
Mhm.
And it is 420. Happy
Hi.
birthday, Avatar.
Avatar. I was thinking the same thing.
And fuck you, bankers.
Yeah.
And let me pass you this on 420. And let's say this little greeting prayer. True self, my true self, and all of your true self, may you awaken the mother serpent at the base of our astral spine and make our chakras open and spin towards home and help us remember, recover, return. Heil Hitler. I hope that don't get us kicked off.
No, but I was thinking
Algorithm.
That's so funny, by the way. When I listen to your podcast, I have a lot of laughs. I'm laughing with you and Maria because I understand her humor.
Right.
Because we're scorpions.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the scorpion triangle going on. You're Scorpio sun. I'm Scorpio moon. She's a Scorpio mother. And I don't think I showed this. Or maybe I did last night. But this is another real sign. It looks better in the dark.
Yeah, maybe turn.
Yeah, it looks cool in the dark, but it's so beautiful. I just love how it feels. It feels.
Oh, it's funny is I did that while I was on a train.
Oh, really?
Coming back from Chicago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if anyone's looking at what I'm doing, but I was on a Girl Scout trip.
You just read my mind. I was saying, I remember you doing that with the Girl Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we want to welcome our plant friend, Mary Lana. Come on in. Come on in. You're so welcome. Along with all our other plant friends, Passion Flower, Dream Herb, Amanita, our mushroom friends too. Mushrooms aren't plants.
I like how you say plant friends, not plant medicine.
I know. It's almost
I'm not
sign.
digging at that, but I just like it's plant friends.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I was watching. There's this really cool kid. He's kind of Indian, or he's half Indian from India, but he's like a shaman guy. His name, if you could look him up on YouTube, his channel is Dakota to Dakota, and he travels around the world. And he was saying, hold on, now I forgot why I started talking to him. What were you saying before this? Oh, plant medicine. Plant medicine.
Yeah.
I was watching him and I could tell he has kind of the same attitude of us of like, I've been around this for a long time. Like, and this is not to pick on anyone, but like the new people, it's like they learn a new language.
Yes, redefining.
Yeah. Which, I'm glad people like plant medicine and not synthetic medicine.
Yeah.
But he said, I was with these people and they wanted me to do a ritual. I think it was, I think it was mushrooms, or it might have been ayahuasca. And he said the lady kept saying to him before he did it, I want you to come to my house, do the plant medicines, and sit with me. Sit with me. And I just thought, and I could tell it got on his nerves of like, and I know her heart was like, I want something supernatural to happen and help you. But you know what some of the big problem is? wanting to help people who don't want help. Like, this guy is like, you're actually kind of insulting me that you think I need help.
Right.
That you think I need to sit with you so that you can psychically help me. It's a great intention. And I'm glad she's like this. At the same time, it bothers me. Like the pretense, Jamaicans would call it. The sort of like overconfidence, overplayed, overcompensating, of like, because we're into shamanism now I think that I am automatically a shaman, and what made me have this attitude though is Maria. Like, my whole thing is like, no, you think you're the shaman. She's the real shaman. Like, this is what makes me know I'm not, I'm like 1/10 of the way of being there. To like I talked to, you would know. I don't want to name his name, but he's like, I'm a shaman, and again, he didn't mean anything bad by it, but he was trying to say like, I've broken out of Christianity and da da. But soon as I hear someone call themselves a shaman, I'm like, but you don't even really know that what this is. Like, it's enough to be the assistant of a shaman. To be the student is the word I was looking for. Just to be able to say, I'm the student of a real shaman is like 20 years beyond these people who are saying, I'm a shaman,
Yeah.
One time I turned, and we'll get to your story, just for real quick though, for the context. One time I turned on this dude. His, the title was great. It was kind of like, the title was kind of like pretense and shamanism. I turned this guy on. He's like, I'm a little gay shaman. And so I'm like, I don't care if you're gay, but he kept calling himself a little gay shaman. And it was using kind of like a victim thing, like, yeah, go ahead, don't listen to me just because I'm a little gay shaman. I'm like, dude, quit calling yourself a fucking shaman for one thing. And then check this out. He goes, I'm a shaman because I don't need to take plants anymore. I don't need mushrooms anymore. I'm like, hold it. You're not even a fucking shaman. These people who think the plants help me get to this level. No, I'm fucking this. Dude, you miss the whole point. The whole trick in Christianity is relationship, not religion. Come in our church because we have a personal relationship with Jesus. It's not like the Catholic Church. And it's the same fucking thing with shamanism, but in a positive, great way. This is a relationship with plants because they're people. It's the same thing of being like, well, I'll use you to get somewhere where people will pay attention to me, and then I don't need you. I get offended for this is weird. I didn't plan this, but last night, I guess because it's 420, my whole talk last night was about meeting the two plant friends of Maria in a memory, seeing them in a memory on Venus. I was talking about this on Venus. They have technology that a plant can have a body, not a plant body, an energy body like a human being. And I was saying last night, one of the only people I ever listened to is this lady. I think you know her, Vicky Lynn Chin. And she talked about these light beings showing up at her house um, at the foot of her bed on New Year's Eve. She got really sick. She went to her room. She opened her eyes, and 2 8-foot tall, she calls them light beings. But when she described them, they were exactly the plant people I seen. They look, being the observer of the memory, I went, because I don't normally call her mother. I just normally call her Maria. But I went, are those aliens? That's what they looked like. Because it actually is the right definition. Alien, something different to your mind.
Yeah.
But she, laughed, and she had me settle down and look closer. I could see the stem, the little shoots where the arms, where the roots started, where the legs, the feet, and that's why they were so tall. And the head was a bud coming, like the bud of starting the whole flower, and it had a face, it had two eyes and a nose and a mouth, and plants are people too. I don't know what else, I don't know. It's like, that's when I realized, like, we're so born into shit that we don't even recognize other life. Christianity has ruined everything. It has ruined everything that we ever were as white people, And I think you, as a Vietnamese, can say Buddhism pretty much ruined everything for, and people be, oh my God, are you criticizing Buddhism? Nobody's gonna tell me how to fucking live, not Siddhartha, not Jesus, not fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi or Luke Skywalker or Frodo, and it's not you take the myth, it transmutes in you and comes true in your life. You are Frodo. You are Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you would stop funneling it off out of false humbleness into Source or the Great Spirit or God. And it's a weird criticism of being like, I know you're trying to be humble and you don't want to say you're this, but you are. People think, I'm just trying to, like, hook into something bigger than myself, like God. And it's really a false humbleness, though, because they really, underneath the veneer, know the only thing that really cares about me enough to do something about my happiness is me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, God, if you're here, then strike us dead right now, or fuck you. Shout out to Carlin. If God's real, strike the audience dead. Because we all know it's not real. And that's a perfect way of getting back into your story. So, where we left off, I just watched the end again. And where we left off was kind of, we went through the church. Everything fell apart. I remember the last conversation I had with Jason before you guys left the church. And I didn't see you again for 9 years. And we, of course, me and Joey we did talk to you. I remember we talked to you when you were in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I think you talked to Joey, and I don't know. I just remember her giving me a report like, Mindy's alive. She's in Pennsylvania, locked in a Quaker house, miles from anyone.
Yeah.
Quaker.
It was Quaker town.
How did a Vietnamese girl end up in a Quaker town?
It was this Rasta
Quaker. Yeah. Rasta Quaker. Hold on, a Rastafarian dude in a Quaker town. That sounds like an album.
Christian. Yeah. Well, this guy, every winter, he would bring a group of people on a bus and they'd live in the Keys for like the nice months and then eventually go back. It was crazy, the people I met. And that's why I'm like, oh my God.
And what's so fucking crazy is I was becoming a Christian when you were doing this. And the first thing I did was meet a dude, Christian hippie dude, but they didn't smoke, because they were Christians, not Rastas, who drove a bus with like 10 homeless Christian
Yes.
dudes with them.
That
So
is
we were just totally on the same,
parallel
but with
story.
different people.
I don't know, like if I thought I need to experience this for myself, but
Well,
yeah.
also, you entered time, space, and chance, which makes which can make the Matrix hell. It can. Before we came here, we didn't believe we could ever live in like a bad vibration. We're like,
No,
and
I've heard myself saying I'll be fine.
yeah,
I
me too.
won't I'll be fine. I'm not worried about falling off, falling out. This
Hmm.
will be easy. I can hear myself saying that to myself. Like, you got this. I
Hmm.
had no idea how difficult I set things up for myself.
And
But
I was saying to make the point. I was saying, reading Miguel Serrano says the hero who is becoming a god. A hero is half God, half a god, meaning he's taught by his teacher to think like a god. But he the fall of man is that person entering this world, entering the matrix, and he says the hero can fall lower than any of the masses. And I was saying last night, some of our people are on the streets shooting drugs, homeless, prostitutes, as low as life can, and they're going to end up transmuting it all and becoming a god. They won't stay there. But some of our people, that's why we can never judge anyone ever, because some of our people are subject to that because they're very sensitive. I mean, it's a perfectly played out plan, and you see Trump doing this the other day, going, "I'm going to open up research to psychedelic chemicals, to Monsanto and DuPont and all the fucking, um, And right away he mentions ibogaine, which is synthetic iboga. They This is Brave New World. And it's so crazy. Maria predicted this the night before. I didn't know what she was saying, but I don't mean to go on, but it's just flowing how it all makes sense. She said to me a couple days ago, I really like the book Doors of Perception. That's where the band The Doors got their name from. Aldous Huxley, Aldous Huxley's book, The Doors of Perception, after he took LSD for the first time. And she was saying, I like Aldous Huxley. I know he looks like he's with the enemy. Everybody does. Terrence McKenna, man, everyone was saying to me, he was CIA and he was leading the people into sorcery and drugs. And Maria's like, I like him. The world needs people like Terrence McKenna. Because why? For all of us, he's the person who discovered 5 grams of mushrooms in a room alone will fucking do something. Something 10 hits of acid at the Grateful Dead show won't do and never will do. Ever. You know what I mean? And she's like, I don't give a fuck what else happened. It took all of his might and courage to do that. You can't do that. You can't do one original thing. But you're like a keyboard warrior on the internet. Hey, CIA. Who was it? The whole country was CIA after 1948. America is a black hole of evil, and we have to fight to the surface even to look out to go, hold on, what's real? You know what I mean? For Christians to be like, it's all devil worship. It's is so fucking stupid. And the next motherfucker says logos, I'm just gonna throw up in your face. The logos. Shut up. I don't believe in the logos. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Okay, we'll get to your story. Sorry,
No, just keep.
but this is part of the story. The book of John starts out, in the beginning was the Word.
Hmm.
In Greek, that's logos. The word is
Hmm.
logos. And the Greeks, so the Christian, what Christians are trying to say is the Greeks got this from the Jews, and that all of creation was produced by this one being saying this one word. You know what I mean? And immediately you're
Really?
like, myth, prove it.
Yeah, that's
Okay, if it's all just scientific and God is a personal being that's doing all this energy and he's the logos, then why does he need human sacrifice and all the and if it's like that's metaphor, then that's the worst metaphor you could possibly fucking and you know what? You can have it. You can take it back to the desert, to the Middle East. I'm not Jewish. you know, but this like Catholic um Gnostic media. What was it? What's his name? The
oh, Jan.
Jan Irvin.
Yeah,
This is Jan Irvin. You know, because he was a dumb fuck. He has
yeah. He.
Catholics talk to him about the logos and see what happens to somebody who thinks they're smart is they're like, I'm smart. This makes sense to me. Because you're like, there's no proof. In the
Hmm.
beginning, there was no beginning
Right.
to everything. So, what
Hmm.
beginning are you talking about? In the beginning of what? The Matrix? You know what I mean? They're like, no, but see, I'm smart and it makes sense through physics and that, see, God made the world through the logos. You're like, prove it. Just because you
God.
found a new word, right? So, you know what? That kind of sums up for me the 9 years I didn't see you. I just got lost in Christianity. But I want to defend myself a little bit by saying every bit of the way it was supernatural things that were confirming this stuff. I would have been
Oh
talking
yeah.
about the logos at one time.
No, I always like when Jason and I lived in the Keys. I would look for little supernatural signs of like what to do next.
Yeah.
Like in those years, we've moved back and forth again from Florida back to Missouri, back to Florida, and then finally back to Missouri.
Yeah.
But it was always by like a sign, like when we were in Missouri, and one time when we thought we should go back to Florida, we saw like Florida license plates like all day long. You're like,
Yeah.
oh well, what the fuck? Yes, we're moving back to Florida.
That's crazy.
And just from Rasta Christian attitude, I was like, it's a sign. I don't know who it was a sign from at the time. I'm sure I said God, but I know it was just my true self, you know, putting that out there like, okay, this is
Yeah.
what you want to do next.
Yeah, but I'm glad you said that because I was exactly like you. I thought it was God. I mean, I'll admit it. I thought a universal being was like helping me,
Yeah.
seeing me,
How I
answering my prayer,
feel.
and it seems
Yeah.
it's so absurd now to think, why me when children are being blown apart by bombs and shit? Oh, he's gonna take
Uh,
time to help my fix my car while this kid's got
mhm.
a fucking tumor growing out of his head.
Exactly. And Jason and I we lost a baby in between our my first and second. And I
Hmm.
thought, oh, it must have been like meant to be God's will, whatever, to make it like make sense, I
Hmm.
guess. So yeah, but now I'm just like, oh.
Okay, so I kind of want you to like. I'll just ask you some questions. So, when you left the church and you got settled, what were your beliefs? What did you think about? I know you guys lived with a like a Christian Rasta. But what were your? I remember
No, but
when you coming back, you telling me like by the time I got to Florida, I did not believe Haile Selassie was God.
no, but we ran into Rastas down in Key West that
Like
whole time. I
Jason
mean,
was in the reggae scene,
110%. Like we even
which didn't make
have
any sense because he left the church saying to me like, "I'm not a real Rasta. I can't be a real Rasta." And he literally became the like fake Rastas
oh
that
my
we used to fight against and be like, this motherfucker uses reggae and Rasta to party and be cool, which
yeah.
Rastas were 100% against. In Jamaica, real Rastas would be like, no, man, stay away from the bars and the
Uh,
alcohol. And, instead in America, you have dreadlocks that are like, let's go out to the bars and drink and
yes,
play reggae.
exactly. Yeah, I was always surprised. Like I would meet someone, they'd be like, "I'm a Rasta," and they drink, or like
Yeah,
I'm just like, that's weird. Like I am not a Rasta anymore, but I still want to, be good to myself. Like
healthy.
talk about like living on principles. Like no matter at times what was coming at me, I knew what was right and wrong. I could just it was just innate. I don't know.
No, I was saying the same thing the other night. That's kind of how we got here. Is something in the background. How I left how I left Rasta. The literal words coming out of my mouth was something's not right. Something's
Mhm.
wrong. I could not. I like if someone would have put a gun to my head, I would have been like, I don't know what it is though. When I like minute before I stopped believing in Rasta, I was saying this like something is not right with me. Something's wrong. Never thinking I could be believing the whole wrong thing. Really not knowing that you are what you believe. Talk about manifesting. You are manifesting what you believe, you know? And so so tell me, where did your like spiritual journey go from Haile Selassie, who I don't think anyone would say was a bad person. I never got a
No.
bad vibe from him. You get the sort of Leo heart, justice. I'm fair. I'm a lion for my people. It's just the Christianity with Haile Selassie. Nothing else. Nothing personally did I ever feel bad from Haile Selassie. I just want to say that. Because I was a real big believer in Haile Selassie was the return of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but all the people that had been in that whole scene, I didn't want to be around anymore. I didn't want to be friends with anybody that even talked about it. Not that it
Yeah,
was anything against him, but anybody with dreadlocks that said that, they're a Rasta, I had to beware because we had gone through that whole thing with Glenn. And I was like, okay, well, I think I'm just going to say that I have a personal relationship with the creator. And then
right.
I started, the
Yeah, I did.
self-help books and like,
Hmm.
I just wanted to be a good person, but that's when I was fooled thinking that everybody had good inside of them
So let me
or
ask
good
you.
intentions.
Yeah,
And that's where
that's a very Christian thing of like
it,
everyone can be saved. That everyone's got some good in them to redeem, which
yeah,
is so unrealistic. It's the worst assumption you can make.
I know.
Um, Let me ask you this: when you left, if someone would have asked you, "Do you believe in God?" back then,
I always said yes
right?
because I thought,
Me
well,
too.
somebody created me. I didn't think, but
Totally.
yet I knew
Because
I was like an eternal being. So it was like a conflict in thought,
yeah, and not being
it,
trained in logic, you don't even realize you're carrying a contradiction within your
right.
your your essential story. I was created by God, eternal. You
Right,
can't.
right.
There's no creating if it's eternal. They're creating. It begots. It created has to have a creator who has to have a creator who has to have a creator. We don't even
Mm.
understand the terms, but you know, like I was like that Alpha Blondie song where he says, "Some call him Allah, some call him Adonai, some call him Jehovah, Yahweh, Yeshua,
Mhm.
Krishna." You know, I was
Mhm.
I thought, yeah, God is one. I mean, that's what Alpha
Yeah.
Blondie's song is. God is one, and that's the essential noble lie that's told to the people to keep them
Mhm.
in check. Plato talks about a noble lie. What he's talking about is God. He
Yeah.
he he hints at it while he's telling you, "I believe in God. I believe," because he's telling you the noble lie. To always
Mhm.
keep you off guard that there's this big, powerful thing that might everyone else believes it. Plato
Mhm.
believes it.
Mhm.
Like in Greece 3,000 years ago, people go, dude, Plato believes it. And in 3,000 years ago in Greece, they were like, what are you, an atheist? You don't believe in the monad? You don't
Mhm.
believe in source? What are you? You don't believe in anything? I mean, it's exactly the same today. As soon as you say, I don't believe in God, their whole fucking boring into mind goes, whoa, without recording it. Okay. Okay. There won't be a real break. So I was just asking you back then if I said, do you believe in God? You would have been like any born into it person. And I think when I say this, that because I say this because I really know you, you would have said, it makes sense that all of this is got to be the plan of something like something supernatural is
Mhm.
going on with all of reality. And I thought it was God. You thought it was God. And we're gonna, you know, go to the place where you, like other people, realize, hold it. I was just on the other side. Nothing about God. Nothing. You know, I've initiated, what was it, like 8 or 9 people? Not one
Mhm.
single person came out saying anything about God.
It intrigued me when you told me that you had done the 5 grams, Joey had done the 5 grams. I'm like, well, I have to too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I was so far from who I am at that moment. Like, I had just started hanging back out with you. I
Mm-hmm.
had my last baby.
Mm-hmm.
So she was, what, 6 months old,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was like, wow, drinking mushrooms. I always loved them. I always loved psychedelics. Of course, acid was so much easier to get when we were like teenagers than
I know.
mushrooms. But anytime someone said, like, hey, I got mushrooms, I was on it. Like, absolutely.
I have a lot of people tell me from high school days, they're like, you were the only person I ever knew that had mushrooms.
Yeah, I probably all of the ones that I had were probably from you.
Right. Bellhoff used to call me Shroomy instead of Moomy. But so tell people about how self help gets your mind into a space. Me and Maria call it the neutral religion, which is worse than Jewish. The paradigm for us is Aryan India and Jewish Christian America. Those are the two polarities, the two opposites. Nordic Hyperborean paganism and Judaic American Christianity. All right,
Oh, Christianity sucked that side. But to
so just why I was saying that is everything in between that will not point out the true paradigm is
Mhm.
what we call the neutral religions. The other day I was ranting and raving. I was like, Manly P. Hallstein. and Nikola Tesla Berg. Why? Because they're on the wrong side of history of 20 million dead civilians. We're not going to let it go. If you're like, well, I'm neutral on that. Fuck you. For every German woman that was raped and nailed to her front door, fuck you. It's just, I was saying, this is like the third time I've done this, but it's exactly the same as meeting someone today and you go, God damn, can you believe what they're doing to people in Gaza? And them going, oh, well, Israel has a right to defend themselves and I'm not on anyone's side. I know, fuck you.
No, that's worse.
These spiritual teachers who won't Oprah, the whole Oprah Winfrey New Age crowd. I can't remember his fucking name. Eckhart Tolle. And all the way cast got down into like the whole logos and the whole spiritual side that says that anything and everything under the sun can be your enemy except for who actually is. And we will not name them. We will ignore them. We are neutral to human sacrifice. We're not on anyone's side. You Nazi racist. These are the people who call people like me. I mean, look, I'm really racist. This is my best friend right here for 30 plus years. That's how racist Maria is too. She was the first person Maria ever spoke to me about, and the first person besides my wife Joey that she said the first people that need to be initiated are Joey and Mindy. So that's how racist Maria is. And see, that's how bad the self-help shit is, right? That it's right there to condemn anyone that comes with like a druidic pagan truth. They're right there to go, no, that's devil worship. No, that's racist. And all we're doing is recalling our culture. And that's racist to someone who wants to destroy everyone's culture. What's going on right now in Iran is no matter what they say, they want to destroy the Iranian culture. That's why they're like, we'll talk, but then we'll bomb you. All right, we'll talk, then we'll kill you. They're not going to stop. They're going to do to Iran what they did to Iraq, Afghanistan, Gaza, Palestine, Lebanon, West Bank. You know what I mean? Because it's in the fucking Bible. They're following their plan. They vowed to it. They're proud of it. And we go, I wonder if they're just, going to end Iranian civilization like the clown said. Okay, who would be really interested in ending Iranian civilization? Maybe it's the people who ended European civilization, ended European religion, ended the Native. Where are the Native American Indians? There was, they say, 100 million Native American Indians in America and Canada. Where'd they go? You can't blame it on the Druids. You can't blame it on the pagans. They were long murdered by you. You came over here and genocided them, destroyed their culture and their civilization, like the clown is saying he's going to do to Iran, because it's the religion of Israel to end people's civilizations. I don't mean to get angry, but it's just like, how fucking bold do you have to fucking be? You came over here, killed 100 million people, and then now you're going around the world killing people going, we're the good guy. We're fine. We gave them a chance to surrender. So we're going to have to end their civilization. That's what we wanted the whole time. We're glad they won't surrender because we want to end their civilization.
That's horrible.
I'm sorry. But it's the truth. It's the neutral religion that provokes me to get mad like that.
Yeah, if that doesn't make you angry, then there is something fucking wrong with you.
Yeah, and
If you ignore it, there's something wrong with you.
yeah,
You think it doesn't affect you? You're just...
it seems almost like a infallible trick to expose someone's true essence. Like, God damn, this matrix just exposed your essence. That when it comes to someone blowing my head off, you don't care about justice. I start a lot of my podcasts saying, like, don't forget, this is for the person that's locked in a fucking cage for something they didn't do. And we all know this goes on. My wife watches endless fucking things of, crimes that are blamed on the wrong people. People, what's the solution? The country's too fucking big. There's too many fucking people to keep track of if anyone's in prison who shouldn't be. 350 million people is way too big. It shouldn't be more than 50,000 people. A country shouldn't be more than 50,000 people. They should all have nukes, and every country say, you fuck with me, I'll blow you off the fucking world. And then, and you can't have more than 50,000 people because the vibration is going to be fucked up if we're getting up and going to work and going, you know what? I think my neighbor is rotting in a fucking locked cage because he had a plant. Catholic Church. Fuck you. I mean, over and over I've been saying, man, anyone that sends their kid to a Catholic school, gives money to Catholic Church, fuck you. You're so fucking retarded. It's unbelievable. You're sitting there smoking weed. They're the ones put hundreds of millions of people in prison for weed. They're the ones that started the whole thing of plants being illegal. There's no single word that any European country was like, you know what? We need to take the plants away from the people. I'm sorry. You're provoking me.
No.
But no, I remember. Let me go back to our story. I remember when we had this conversation. We had these conversations when, so what happened was, like you said, we fell out of contact, and like me and Joey had moved a couple times, and you got a hold of us in the first house we ever bought ourselves.
Yeah, I found you on MySpace.
That's right. It was the MySpace days.
Yeah. I was like, this has to be. And I had already been looking for you two through like Joey's family, her last name. I was just
I remember
searching.
you saying that, looking in the phone book.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. And I was like, well, I mean, most people are somewhere on the internet, some trace of them. And yeah, I came on your
and I never
MySpace.
thought that anyone would ever be looking for me. So my MySpace was called Joseph M. I was like releasing music under that name. And I never thought, it's so dumb, not to just have my whole name, because no one could ever find me, no one would ever think. But, I was in my own world in a way. But I did have my name on my page enough that some people did find me that way. Like, you could search my music or something, and like, you found me that way. We actually searched your name. We searched Mindy Schneider, Mindy Malloway. I mean, we were trying to find you too, but we also didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is in 2003, 2004,
Yeah, it was all new to me.
So I remember like one of our first conversations after we re-met, I was asking you. It's so crazy. I remember telling you my story of like, it's so crazy, but I just got done being a total hardcore Christian that was completely deceived. I had literally, it was like 2 months before we re-met that I stopped believing, not in God and not really even in Jesus, but in the Bible and Christianity. I remember the first time you came over, I told you I had a dream, and this is totally Maria. It's so Maria and Liv. I had a dream. I was like standing at the edge of this like 1,000-foot cliff, and like Jesus came out of my body and floated out over the cliff and said to me, like, I have to leave. Like, and you'll learn who I really am. I remember telling you that the first time you came over and trying to explain to you, like, I don't believe in Jesus anymore. And you being like, me neither, really. I don't really, I'm not you started telling me, like, I'm
No,
not
I
a
was into
Christian.
self-help books.
Yeah.
Which isn't, at the time, I was just searching for something because I just knew there had to be something. Maybe not God, but just.
And the people that write these books are clever. It's not that there's nothing there. There's always something there to get you, something that works. It's just that they're not fighting the enemy. They're not here for the combat. So it's just weak and it's just Jewish. You might go, no, it's not. Yes, it is. When you see how it condemns the pagan practices, right? You bring up to these people, plant medicine, even, and they are the first people to be like, you don't need that. You can manifest by, da da da, and for real, you just feel like, oh, you're one of those people. You know what I mean? Everybody that's into shamanism knows exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, you're one of those people. You're actually looking down on us, going, oh, they need to get high. Oh.
All you have to do is meditate.
And it's such a self-help thing.
No.
It's such a self-help thing to be like, it's just me. I can manifest whatever I need.
Yeah.
Like whatever they're getting from these plants, I can just manifest it in myself. And I've been saying also on the podcast why Joey is my wife, because she has a very black and white thing about her. I asked her, I said, what do you have to say about this? She said, it's two different things. Those are two different things. Whatever you're doing, meditate, that's one thing. 5 grams of mushrooms in the dark room is a different thing. Don't think that they're the same. They're different things. Just like when she was asked about the Bible, she said, that's Jewish. I'm not Jewish. Once she learned. And like she was deceived too. She was just saying the other day, like, I was totally deceived. I was a Rasta. I was a Christian.
Yes.
But once your eyes are open, hold on. Jesus is Jewish. The 12 disciples are Jewish. The whole book is Jewish. And actually, in the margin is we fucking hate you, Gentiles.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't know why it's photographically coming to my mind. Like when we were having this conversation and I was telling you how I stopped being a Christian, you were saying to me, I've been listening. You were like, right now, I ride to work with somebody, and you're like, we listen to these like self-help tapes, and you're like, that's what I'm kind of into. And I was asking, well, tell me what it's about, and it was kind of the whole manifesting thing, attracting, that you won't be poor if you attract wealth to you, and blah,
it's
blah.
Your state of mind.
Yes. Positive thinking.
Yes.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it's like the logos when you hear someone say, and at the same time, you can't blame someone though.
It sounds good because you want to be in a better space, So
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, being positive, but it's being positive or optimistic or pessimistic. It's not real. It's not. No.
And I remember saying to you, like, I'm not a Christian no more, but something about that I don't like. I don't like it.
Well, it's pretty fake.
but I didn't know about it much. I mean, when I was a
Right.
Christian, I was a fucking Christian, man. I thought I was casting out
But
demons. I was trying to heal the sick. I was trying to raise the fucking dead. I- you know,
yeah.
and I kind of respected you for like kind of doing your own thing, like looking into something besides Christianity because I just left.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I was like, it psychically rubs me the wrong way. And I remember you talking about Eckhart Tolle and me checking him out. And that is why the first time I said to you, like, what do you think about Jews?
I know, I remember so clearly. I was like, what a weird question to ask me. I was like, I really don't know much about
I,
them.
dude, I have a great,
I'm like,
especially sitting next to you, I have a great memory. I said to you, I said, you ever heard of Eustace Mullins or
mm,
Ezra Pound? And this is when I mean, this is 2009.
mhm,
So this is 2 full years before I'd start doing the ritual, 3 full years before I'd ever find out about Maria Orsic, right? And I was completely psychically turning because I said to you, have you ever heard of the Jewish question? And I remember you going, what do you mean? No, I've never. What do you mean? I said, have you ever known they were kicked out of 80 countries 100 different times?
yeah,
That motherfucking fact to history should make your ass scratch your head and go, hold on. Say that again? A certain religion that your Christian religion came from, they
mhm,
were rounded up over 100 times in 80 different or something. I maybe have the numbers. I know they were kicked out of England 3 or 4 times, kicked out of
mhm,
Ireland a couple times. They've been kicked out of countries over 100 times. Maybe I have the countries wrong. Maybe it was 50 or 30 countries or something. But okay, let me tell you, how many times were the Buddhists kicked out of countries?
yeah,
How
yeah,
many times were the Druids kicked out of countries? How many times were the
mhm,
Asatru Odinists kicked out of countries? I don't know. I've never even heard of this. And you're like, hold on. They sure forgot this in goddamn 20th century history in high school. Huh? Why didn't you bring that up? How come that never came up in our Gentile schools? That this big giant question of these people are fucked up. That's the question. The question is, what do we do, question mark, with these fucking people who practice human sacrifice? Oh, why do you say that? Well, Exodus 22 says every single family must devote their firstborn to total destruction. And then you tune into Ezekiel, it says, I gave them evil laws and statutes to follow. God gave evil law. What law would that be? Oh, kill your firstborn son. That's what, I mean, can you believe we're even fucking talking about this?
no,
Can you believe that people are like, yeah, I believe it. All over the fucking Old Testament is bring 3 doves and rip their fucking heads off. Bring a couple goats and slit them open and fucking, you don't find that weird?
yeah. Why?
I know. And people are like, well, see, Jesus was the last sacrifice. Well, if he's God, why would he ever, ever, ever want anything to suffer? Why would he ever want an animal to suffer?
Especially if he created it.
I know. He loves it. No, he
He
loves
loves it.
everything. He is love. God is love. And I've been saying over and
Mm,
over. I think I remember you telling me about a Vietnamese politician saying we need 5 Hitlers over in Vietnam.
mhm.
And I was
That's
saying, yeah, I was saying the other night the reason why is because Hitler, the first things he did was ban circumcision. See, people in
yeah.
other countries and other cultures are like, oh my God, I didn't know they did that. I didn't know they
Mhm.
fucking mutilate their boys. He banned circumcision. He banned kosher slaughter, the torture of
Mhm.
animals. Buddhists and others are like, who would do that? Who would purposely kill an animal the most torturous, painful way? And they identify with Hitler going, he's a good person to stop that. Because who the
Mm.
fuck would do that? Well, the people who were kicked out of these countries over and over, they came in and they said, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why can't you
Mhm.
just kill the animal? What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, I can't. It's okay. I was saying
No,
this
but it
same
was
thing to
like
you in
I
2009.
started, yeah, I used to call it like breaking the ring of lies. It's
Yeah.
like it would shatter some thought that I had. Like, no, oh, I didn't think about that. I had a lot of those moments with you. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So it was deprogramming first of the way I was raised, the way I thought, like the books I've read, everything had to like just go away. And I just start from scratch, from, like resetting my mind,
Yeah.
you
Totally.
know.
Real quick before we go on, you helped me like the other conversation. I just want real quick, in between that time, when we were Rastas, like I met you when you were 16 years old, and you were my second girlfriend, and I only had three girlfriends because my wife was my third girlfriend. But in between that time, you came over to my house and bought some herb, and when I was walking you out, I stopped you and said to you, like, you don't know how much you've helped me. Like, I didn't really know what I was saying. It was like, and I just wanted you to tell how we've always had like a psychic relationship that is
Yes, because
beyond me or your control. Like, I didn't even mean to do that.
no, I had actually already had the conversation with you on. So I left work and I knew we had this connection. And in my mind, I said, if I can have this conversation with Joe, this is how it would go. That we have this like crazy connection that I can't explain,
Right.
beyond words. Like we can talk without speaking. So when I got to your house, I think Scotty was there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you walked me out and then you said the exact conversation that I actually had had like 20 minutes before. It just made me cry. 'Cause-
I was just gonna say it was like a enlightening moment. It was like something happened, and it was like the room got brighter. It was foreshadowing, definitely. Like we had no idea that you would ever not be with your husband, who me and my wife knew growing up. You know what I mean? Like me and
yeah,
Joey never imagined you without Jason,
me
for
neither.
one thing.
Me neither.
So I was really stopping you at that moment to say, like, you understand, like, you were like my best friend, like I was trying to say, like, you supernaturally helped me. I didn't know how to say it at the time, but I was trying to, like, um, it's weird because the golden thread truly is the true self. Like,
Mhm.
when you do this ritual, you see your whole matrix life and you're like, oh my God, I really was there the whole time, but it was just a thread. It was lost in Rasta, but there was the
Uh-huh.
thread of what I mean, you know,
Mm.
I don't. Okay, so check this out. Our reunion, and I have to say this. So in 19, when did we? Was it 1995? I believe that Abby was born in 1995. So it must have been 1996 that we lived by each other in
Mhm.
South City. In 1996, I had a dream that I was way out at Joey's mom's house and an earthquake, like the end of the world, happened. And all they were worried about is me getting back to you and making sure you and Kale were okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kale was literally less than 1 years old.
Yeah.
When I had, like, he might have been a little bit older when I had the dream, like maybe over one, but in the dream he was exactly the age that we lived next to each other at the time, at the
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, I think I had the dream a couple months after we moved, because I remember telling Joey, like, I had a dream that we still lived down there, and that, like I knew the dream meant, like, we're not supposed to be separated from Mindy.
No.
Like, we were supposed, when we lived there was some, like, protection, there was something special, and to this day, I, photographically can see the dream. To this day, like it was my real life. And, to make it short, when I got from part of the city back to where you were to try to bring you to Joey and her mom, because they were so worried about if you were okay in this earthquake. And Joey was like, "The building is old, that old building, it could have fell and stuff." And when I got there, um, I was so happy the, like, bottom door was open. It was like the building door, and then, each apartment had its door. And sometimes that door would be locked,
Mm-hmm.
at the building, but it was open. And I was yelling for you when I got to the door, because I thought it would be locked. I was yelling like a maniac because I had went through the city, and I was getting really afraid that you weren't going to be there, or you were dead or something. And this is when you had one child, and we had our child.
Yeah.
Like, me and you didn't have like a real serious. We were friends, but it wasn't like we knew anything about our connection now being this
No.
supernatural. And this is no bullshit. This is absolutely how Maria, and this is how an example of confirming things supernaturally in your life in the craziest way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you open the door, I hate to stop right. Okay, so my dream, and I got to the apartment in my dream. It's like the end of the world, and you answer the door. You're wearing a a sweater exactly this light blue color, and you're holding Kale on your hip. Okay. So in 2009, we re-met. You came to my house. My
Mm-hmm.
wife was like, "Mindy's here." I came out. You were holding Micaiah on your hip with a blue sweater. I didn't put these things together. 2011, right over there, me and Joey and Monique are dancing on mushrooms. This is before I ever did a ritual. And the Missouri River goddess started talking to me. It was just a woman's voice, and she said, "I'm the reason you live here. I'm the reason you moved by the river. The first test you passed was to move closer to me." She said, "And the most important person in your life is," and I seen you. And she said, "Do you recognize the sweater?" And I went, "Oh my God." I went, "I dreamed in 1996 seeing you in 2009. It wasn't Kale, it
Mm-hmm.
was Micaiah. And it was the sweater that you had on in 2009. I dreamed about that sweater in 1996. And the Missouri River goddess said, "I did that. Was it clever?" And I went, "Yes."
Yes.
That's how she started. And I have seen you
Mhm.
in the blue sweater, and it changed to Native American Indian, like, war dance, like the
Mhm.
fringe, the skins, the feathers. And she went, "Her DNA connects to Native American Indians. That's why she's here." I went,
No,
huh.
remember my nickname in high school was Saka from Sacagawea.
I
Like that was
totally.
like Even anybody
Chris
that
told me that was your name. He
anybody
fucked
that
with me for like 2 hours. He was like, her name's Sacagawea. I'm like, nah. I mean, he's driving around going, yeah, we're gonna go see Sokka soon. I'm going, her name can't be Sacagawea. And Robin's like, I think her name really is Sacagawea. And I'm like, no, dude, shut up.
yeah.
And they called you Sokka like 50 times because they were fucking with me. Like, soon as we picked it, they were like, come on, Sokka. They kept saying it in front of me. Chris did.
I know. I had just went to a funeral recently, but I saw someone, that I used to hang out with, and from down the hall, he's like, Sokka, come here.
Damn,
I'm
that's
like,
old school. Someone calling you Sokka is old school.
yeah,
But
it
that's
was
so
great.
crazy because Vietnamese people would be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I
They would be like,
tr-
we're not Native American Indians, you freaks. But Maria actually, I mean, I'll tell the truth. It was like 5 years later or something. I'm watching some documentary on DNA and shit, and they're like, we're absolutely sure the Native American Indians were tall. Some of them. Some of them.
Mhm.
They were like on an average of like 5'10", which is as tall as northern Nordic Europeans. The normal Europeans like 5'9", 5'8". But these Indians, they always thought that the Vikings had been over here thousands of years. Not the Vikings, but the Hyperboreans. The Templars came over here and found that out. The Templars, Knights Templars in the 1200s, 13th century came over here, and the Indians told them thousands of years ago, white people were over here mixed with us. That's our kingly lines are from mixing with these Hyperboreans that came from the North Pole. And they're like, there was no Jesus. And what they stole from you was the runes, the story of your race, the story of your religion. The Knights Templars
Mhm.
went back, did not fight. Let the Catholic Church kill them. You know, doesn't that sound win by losing? They were told go back there and lose the
Mhm.
war, lose the war, just like the Germans. In World War II, Hitler
Mhm.
could have took the nuclear bombs and nuked fucking Britain. He could have won the war, but he's a good person, not like this
Mhm.
clown face idiot who is
Mhm.
the clown face of the Church of the fucking Subgenius retard. I mean, you gotta be a fucking retard at this point. Be like, yeah, let's destroy Iranian civilization. Just think how dumb it is to destroy 6,000-year-old shit. Like they're just bombing like the fucking Baalbek, Lebanon with the megaliths, the oldest ones. Israel fucking flew by there and bombed some of it on purpose. There was
Yes,
nobody there.
of course they
Oh
did.
god. So, back to the story. So that tripped me out. That was the first, and Maria's thing was like, you thought Yahweh was doing some supernatural shit to get your attention? I did that. I gave you the dream. I used to tell people, dude, the most powerful dream I ever had was that dream. Because as a Christian, you're thinking about the apocalypse and the end of the world. I was like, I had a fucking dream that all the highways were collapsed. All the bridges were collapsed. You couldn't get out of St. Louis. The buildings were collapsed downtown. Everything was fucking shut down. Everything was wrecked. It was like the end of the world, you know? And,
Mm.
so at the time, me and you were like talking. I think we were talking like every couple weeks or once a month at
Yeah.
least, very serious shit, a lot about the Jewish question and like what I was learning about the Bible. And you were agreeing with me. You weren't pushing back like maybe the Bible is true.
No. But once again, we started reading like Santos and like
Yeah,
energy books and
the light of
like
Egypt was,
yeah.
it's an introduction. It's kind of
Yeah.
the It's the, it's crazy, but it's the neutral religion. It's the gods were this, and then they turned into this because they're really all one, and all is one. And you're like,
Mhm.
no, no,
I'm not
no. These
one.
people practice human sacrifice.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
not one.
one with them.
In these books like Blavatsky or Manly P. Hall or something, you conveniently find that all evil is blamed on demons and spirits and shit. And now the Jewish question is non-existent. It don't even exist in that world. If you bring it up, they're like, we fought the Nazis. We died fighting the Nazis to free the world of the Nazis. How dare you? And see, this is Maria Orsic's thing. It's exactly like someone saying in this day and age right now, "Are you with the Palestinians? Are you one of those protesters? What are you going to say? Free Palestine from the river to the sea? Free Palestine? Palestine should be free." You know what I mean? This is the same thing to Maria Orsic. It's retarded
Mhm.
insane to take the side of armies that killed 20 million civilians who admit they dropped nuclear bombs on children. The only nuclear bombs that were ever dropped on people, they admit we dropped them totally on civilian targets. Had nothing to do with military. I mean, they completely admit that they carpet bombed Dresden and Germany to
Mhm.
force they were going to kill as many civilians until the government was handed over to them. And any normal person would say, how do we know when the government was turned over to you? How do we know that enough? What kind of thing to say, well, you know what? We'll stop killing people when you surrender. So we have to trust you that your enemy surrendered. You might be like, well, we're not going to accept your surrender for another week until so we can kill more people. Because why?
Mhm.
Why? The goal is destruction. They don't want peace
Mhm.
with Iran like they didn't want it with Iraq or Afghanistan or
Yeah.
this is what they were. It is human sacrifice. Okay, so this is 2 weeks before I do my first ritual.
Didn't- Yeah.
I see, this, the Missouri River goddess that night actually told me that she was the one that brought you to St. Louis, which was very intriguing for me. I was just like, huh? But again, it made sense to me like you're here for a reason, and she was just saying that. And what's
I mean,
crazy is you grew up closer to where I was, Sunset Park, than I
yeah.
did. So me, you, and Joey were like all of a sudden ending up in the same place near the Missouri River
Mhm.
that you actually grew up, when I knew you. So I do my first ritual, and I just want to honestly get your take because as everyone knows who listens, the very first thing was Scotty, who you knew, who killed himself. But straight from that was my ancestors telling me, you did it, you did it, you did it. And me literally going, did what? And they were like, you found them. And I literally went, found who? I did not know, honestly, what they were talking about.
Mhm.
And they were like, Joey and Mindy. I mean, they were just like, Joey and Mindy, dude, that was your first test. They were like, your first test to get here was you had to find them. And I was like, okay, I did something good. I'm like, that's wild. Okay, I did. I passed the test. And I didn't even know that I was being tested. Cool. And but me and you aren't that close. And I'm going like, huh? But why? I'm thinking, Marie, the Missouri River goddess. The first thing she says is, "Hey, Mindy's here for a fucking reason. The biggest reason for you." I'm like, huh? Like, how does that make sense? She's got, she's married. She's been married. Now she's with someone and has a child. And I'm going like, huh? And straight from like, you did it, you did it. All of a sudden, I am walking in this like procession that is like Lord of the Rings slash futuristic with a just some weird tinge of like Asian dress, like very thin clothing that, you would imagine Asians wearing. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And Maria Orsic is walking right next to me. And I look at this woman. And I'd never seen the Missouri River, guys. I look at this woman and I go, she looks familiar. Right? This is the first time I ever seen her in a minute. And I didn't even know this was a memory for one thing. And I go, man, she looks familiar. And I'm in my regular mind observing my memory, and I go, did I dream about this lady? Of course, my first thought is she's beautiful. She's beautiful. Like, hold on. Because I had one extremely crazy dream that I always called the cat lady dream about the prettiest girl meeting me in a Christian concert, standing right next to me, wearing this exact clothes. This sort of military jacket with a longer skirt, like military green, and she looked completely out of the ordinary, like very originally dressed for like a early 2000s sort of Christian rock concert, Christian punk concert. And I looked at her and went and like did a double take, like this girl has been standing next to me. I haven't noticed, with this hair down to her knees and just, very beautiful. And I kind of double taked and I specifically didn't look at her again because I didn't want her to think like I'm hitting on you or I'm looking at you. So I waited for a long time, but I wanted to look at her. I kind of looked at her clothes and was like, man, I like those clothes. you know, she had these like 40s or 50s vintage looking like little boots on. They're like these little boots that were like only ankle high. And I was like, damn, I like how this girl's dressed. And finally, I looked at her face again, and she was looking right at me, smiling. And I just kind of smiled back to her, and she just immediately went to my ear and said, I think we should go out of the concert and talk about what's happening here. Talk about the music, if it's good or not. I'm not kidding. She said, like, can we step out for a second? I want to talk to you about, if you like this or something like that. And when we walked out, the first thing she said is, this sucks. I'm not kidding. I used to tell Nina and Gabe, I told this dream a bunch of times because it was so funny how, and eventually in the dream, she told me to get in her car, which is funny because Maria never drove, and but in the car was like a charcoal SUV, right? This was in like 2003, 4. I had this dream. And we went back to her house and she said, can you help me carry this water? And she's like, I have some water from earlier and some stuff in my trunk, can you help me carry it in? And when we were walking in, she said, don't be alarmed. When I open the door, one of my cats always runs out. It's like a whole thing she does, right? When I opened the door, a gray, white, and black cat with blue eyes ran out. And I was like, oh, that's a cat. And when I looked at her telepathically, for one of the first times ever, but this was in a dream, but I experienced like the other conversation. When I looked at her, when the cat came out, I looked at her and telepathically, I heard myself saying to her, you look like a beautiful cat. And her going, oh, thank you. Like we really knew each other. And it so freaked me out. I went, I was about to say in the dream to her, like, we just telepathically spoke, but I couldn't get it
Uh-huh.
out. I woke up. Okay, check this out. When I met Maria, 2011, this dream was, like I said, like 2004 or something. In 2011, she said to me, that girl over there, you knew her. Her name's Deanna. You knew her before you came here. The proof is in the dream about me. I had the car she has now, and I had her cat. And she's like, I hate to say this because I know you don't like this, but I am requiring you to tell her. And I was like, oh, I don't really know this woman very well. How do I explain this? This is no bullshit. She had a charcoal SUV. Exactly the one I dreamed about 7 years previous. And 7 years before that, not everyone had an SUV, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Not everyone had it. Was kind of a weird car to me. Like she opened up the back, like I said, to get
Yeah.
and when she opened up her back, like her face went next to mine, and I felt like a vibe go through me. Like,
Mhm.
is this woman hitting on me? I was like, I must be imagining things like this supermodel looking like she was saying some crazy shit to me. Like I said, like, let's step out of here and talk about how this sucks. And when we were walking through, this is no lie. I am not, and this is a dream. I just want to say this for some reason. When we were walking through the parking lot, a fucking, you know how they have coat racks in the church, you know?
Mhm.
You come in and you take your coat off. A coat rack slid out of the door of this church where they were having the concert and was sliding down the parking lot, but there was only one coat on it with a whole suit under the coat. It went right by me and Maria, and she said, "Hey, that's you?" And I went, "What do you mean?" And she said, "That's you after you find out, what I'm going to tell you." Me and her watched it go all the way down the parking lot and like
Mhm.
crash into the back of the parking lot. And she was like, never mind that. For real. That's how weird it is. A suit of like a blank person like went by, and she was like, that's the old you. And when you hear what I have to say,
Uh-huh.
you're going to be a whole new you. Um, okay. So she tells me, tell her that I'm proving you knew her before you came here by the car, and that she has a black and white cat, right? And I go, you know what though? I go, doesn't it say somewhere, let a thing be established by two and I realized she was putting it into my mind. I said, can you give me something else
Mhm.
too? Because this is just too much.
Yeah.
And she said, okay. But she was actually doing this. She was putting it in my mind to
Mhm.
say to her, give me more. She said, I'll give you a dream from right now to when I want you to tell her. I'll give you a dream and you'll know. So like a couple days later, I dream that I go to her house to pick her up for work, which I've never done. I don't know where she lives, but for some reason, I'm driving, picking her up for work. And then I figure, and this is why. I walk up to her door and I go, I go, I'm here to get the kittens,
Mhm.
get a kitten.
Mhm.
And she goes, oh, there's three left. My sister took one or something. I
Uh-huh.
come in and I go, oh, is this your cat? Black, white, and gray with blue eyes. The one I dreamed about. So I dream this. I go into the room. We're getting the kittens. And Deanna, when she's getting the kittens, she like bends down and her head goes next to mine. And we have like the other conversation, just like Maria. And I'm like, I know you. You're
Mhm.
beautiful. You're a beautiful soul. Like, I'm not hitting on you.
Mhm.
You're a beautiful I knew you before we came here in the dream. And okay, so I do the ritual. I'm like, dude, that's crazy because I
Uh-huh.
get a kitten, and I go to work, but it's weird. I don't, it's not about the dream, but so anyway, I do the ritual, and Maria's like, okay, now tell her all of it. Tell her all of it, and she goes, that's crazy. She goes, I have I have a car, like you said. I don't know if you really dreamed about it. She goes, but I know you didn't know. A year ago, a cat just showed up at my back door, and I didn't know she was pregnant. She goes, like 6 months ago, Joe, I had 3 kittens I was trying to give away. And I go, and your cat is black, white, and gray with blue eyes. And she said, yeah. I said, I dreamed about that cat 7 years ago and your car. And she went, hmm. She really went, hmm. And I said, and I don't mean to freak you out. I said, but the message here is your life has been repeating, and you just had the Missouri River goddess intervene in your life with something truly supernatural. Like, I don't want anything from you. I have nothing to gain. I said to her, you're the one that said, for a fact, I don't even know you. I told her, I only knew that your name is Deanna. I said, you're the one that said, I didn't know you had 3 kittens. And I didn't know what kind of cat you had.
Mm-hmm.
And the next ritual I did, Maria said, one more thing for Deanna, if you don't mind. Tell her ancestors who love her sent the cat. Because she said just showed it up her back door. And I go, and they want to help you break the circles and get out of the eternal return. And again, she went, I remember her going, it sounds like a movie. She's like, I've seen a movie like this. Like, she's like, I'm not saying you're wrong. She said, maybe my life is repeating. So I do the ritual. The Missouri River goddess says the most important thing is to first initiate Joey and Mindy together if you can. I remember saying to you, she said the best thing would be you and Joey to do it together. But we all understood both of you had to take off work. You both worked on Sundays back then. And so we didn't do it at the same time. But we eventually.
It was pretty close.
It was a few months or something. Mm-hmm. So let's get to the night. First, I think the week before, I had you come over and do a serious energy cleanse that Maria Orsic was there doing. And I remember you saying, like, there was something to that.
Yeah, I remember, like, my whole body was, like, vibrating in some crazy frequency. I don't know. And I don't know. It was just weird. Like, I wasn't really there. I remember I was somewhere else. I have no idea where.
Yeah. And see, again, I know it sounds hokey, but I am the vessel totally at this point because I don't know anything about this.
No.
I don't know. I don't know how to cleanse someone's energy.
Yeah.
And Maria in the ritual is just telling me, no, I'll do it. Just bring them here and I'll do it. I know what I'm doing. And so I'll never forget. It was very humid, winter, summery night, and it hadn't rained in quite a while.
Yeah.
The night of your initiation. So you drank, I believe it was 4.7 grams of mushrooms. And let's hear you say, how did it hit you?
It hit me really quick. Like, yeah. I remember looking at you and Joey, you guys were dancing and talking. I was like, I have to lay down. I was like, I could not stand any longer. And in a split second, I was not in my body. I don't know where I went or what order things happened, but God, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, so many things happened. Like, I saw something has been following me, and the faces of all the people that have, like, been a big part that had, like, hurt me.
Yeah.
Like, from, like, my stepdad to Jason to Glenn to, it was weird. Their faces morphed, and it was all one energy after me.
It was a person going from using
Yes.
them as the vessel to hurt you instead of the vessel of good. They were the vessels for, and Joey had the same thing. She was like, there's this person in the shadows that's been trying to get me.
Yeah.
You and Maria had already been telling me like that my job was to tell you and Joey, you don't know the context. Your lives have been threatened. Your targets, your big time targets. And like Joey never really acknowledged it all through the Rasta shit. It would come to her like Kristen. What she told me is Glenn wanted to kill you because he wanted to be with Joey.
Mhm.
I'm not kidding you. Mike, the same thing.
Mhm.
The cult leader guy you never really met, the
Mhm.
black guy. One of his guys came to me and said, "Listen, dude, I don't know what it is with your wife, but he's got something with your wife. He
Mhm.
wants your wife." And Joey would, just be like, she never really could acknowledge it, but it's a
Mhm.
real target. She was a real target. And like Maria was saying, it's time for them to be warriors and fight back instead of just being like, no, that's, just to recognize this is hurting you energy wise. Um, I remember, from my point of view, once the ritual started, it was like me and you were psychic, but all of a sudden, just in a matter of like 2 or 3 minutes, it turned like to the 10th power. It was like all of a sudden, like what I thought, like maybe, we have a psychic connection was like, no, we have been living in another dimension, a parallel world the whole time together. And I was seeing myself, seeing you as a 2-year-old kid or a 1-year-old when you just first started walking. And I went to the Missouri River goddess at the time, like, oh my God, how am I seeing this? And she was like, you've never been apart from her. You've always been going to her, checking on her, helping her, and she helps you. She comes, and all of a sudden, I seen you, and you were like, 6 or 7, playing the piano, and I just started weeping, not because it was so beautiful. It was like we came from like a culture that appreciates music so much that I was moved to tears through your piano playing. I went, she's so little. Because you looked, I mean, because you're little anyway, but you looked tiny, like the piano looked huge and you were just like ding, ding,
I know, I did
you were
play.
playing fucking like classical,
Mhm.
I was, yeah. Um,
I don't know. Like, I know it switched to your oldest daughter. Like, and I was trying to tell you guys, and I know only sign language by
oh my God, that was,
by
we
letters. So I was
couldn't,
trying
we
in the
didn't know.
dark. I don't know why I thought you would see it, but I was trying to say it's about Abby. Like, I have a connection to her.
Right.
And then we were at my house that I lived in at the time, and there was a woman there, and she's like, I'm the older Abby, but she was
Wow.
like 70. She was
Damn.
old, but she had like this.
Okay, hold on just 1 second.
Underneath the moon sky, feel the vibe. Island breezes whisper low like a live tribe. Nana dance through the night, heart so free. With every swaying step, she's a melody. Roots in the sun, the only guide. But Nana, Nana, guide us home. Through waters wild, to love we roam. River of Amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. In the sunshine we never lost, just found echoes of laughter, we move to that sound. Colors of the sunset paint the ocean deep with not a spirit wave, but wake never sleep. Unity we rise, no need to hide. The river speaks, it knows our name. Through every wave, we're called to reclaim. River of Amor flowing through our veins. Truths that reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. River of Amor flowing through our veins. Truths that reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. Sunflower seeds up and you shine forever bright. In the rhythm of love we ignite.